sometimes we could all use a good cry, right, fellas? Hey, welcome to our wrestling podcast, Unscripted.
But we do. I'm very stressed about weeks like this because we had 2 premium live events, pay-per-views, whatever you want to call them last week. Actually 3, because we had NXT, which we didn't even talk about last week. So we had the NXT, was it Roadblock? I don't remember things anymore. The NXT Roadblock, which was a very good show. I caught the majority of it a couple days after. It was a really, really good show. So NXT puts on some really good stuff. But I don't have any information on it, so I don't want to talk about it anymore. But it was a really good show. There's several matches on there that you should go back and watch. I guess we can start out with Double or Nothing because I have a bone to pick with stupid internet fans. And really, I'm falling into their trap, right? They're negative for a reason. And there's AEW haters out there. There's WWE haters. And then they both watch the opposite product to hate watch it and then just talk about it, which makes no sense, right? Like, doesn't make any sense. If you don't like AEW, don't watch it. If you don't like WWE, don't watch it. Like, it really makes no sense. And maybe the 46-year-old Jess can say that now. I can't say that the 20-year-old Jess wasn't much or wasn't any different than a lot of the fans now, because I was very protective in my 20s and I loved to fight about wrestling, and you didn't know anything because I was a wrestling fan. I was invested. So I forget that we deal with a lot of 20 and 30 year olds in with this wrestling fandom. That's who watches now. You know, we're just one of the few in their 40s that have kind of hung on and never let go. And there's, quite a few of us out there for sure. But the majority that they go after is the 20-year-olds, the teens and stuff like that. And even like the early 30s, people keep watching. So I forget that as you guys get older, you're going to realize that a lot of your opinions were stupid and that you should have just enjoyed wrestling when you had it. Because, we took for granted a lot of that stuff. And then once WCW went out of business, it's like, it's a totally different world, and we're still feeling the effects of it now. So much, in fact, that when a second promotion comes to give other men and women a different place to work, people hate on it and wish it to fail. And I think that's just fucking sad and gross. And a lot of people,
stupid too.
Yeah, more than kind of stupid. But like people, Brian Alvarez, I think, sent a photo like this from Double or Nothing in Vegas. They were at the T-Mobile Center. And obviously, a lot of empty seats. This is the hard cam, the opposite side of the hard cam, right? You can see the little guy and the little tripod on the fucking stairs right there.
Sure.
They typically do not sell a lot of seats around it, but this is not selling all the tickets. It's not, they roped it off for the hard, because you could see some people sitting very close to the hard camera. So they wouldn't have let them sit that close if it was roped off, let's be honest. So this was the opening match as well. So they did not sell the arena out. Now, Before I get to the actual attendance and stuff, they have sold more tickets. Yes. Is it as new and as shiny of an object as it was 3.5 years ago, 4 years ago, whenever they first came out? No. You want to know why? Because wrestling's not in a boom period like everybody acts like it is. It is not. It's just the hardcore fans spreading out and throwing their money, and they spend a lot of money at these promotions. We're not in a boom period. I don't care how good the Bloodline story is. There's no one like The Rock, Hogan, or Austin, or even Cena to captivate the mainstream media. There's nobody, not even Roman Reigns, not even Brock Lesnar. It's just not that way right now. It's just not. And so people just confuse that, and they just think people hate AEW, and AEW is going to go out of business. I saw so many comments of, I can't wait to watch the rise and fall of AEW. I can't wait to, and I think all that stuff's just horrible. And it triggered me, and I fell for it, for sure. I'll admit that freely. But, it's funny because you see this shot right here. This was the actual shot, motherfuckers, of the arena. You can see the empty space. See my little cursor? There we go. That's the same picture. Can they sell more tickets up here? Sure. Do they have some tickets empty right here? Sure. But this is not half.
That's looking pretty. That looks pretty. That looks pretty full.
Last year in the same building. Last year in the same building, they put just over 14,000. This year, they just put over 10,000. So they're 4,000 short from last year. If you're a businessman, not a good metric to compare yourself against. However, it can be for many different reasons that was the case. I think it's time to move on from Vegas. I don't even think WWE has ever depended on Vegas to be like a hotbed for pro wrestling. The one WrestleMania they had there only had 16,000. They picked a venue purposely that only held 15 or 16,000 because usually tourists come to Vegas and people pass their throughs, so I don't, they got lucky the first few couple times that they did big shows there. They did MGM for before they were AEW, they did that All In pay-per-view where it was all the indies kind of coming in together and they sold the MGM out. I think that's like lightning in a bottle, just like any other promotion. Now the newness is wearing off. Tony Khan has a lot of work to do. I'm not suggesting that he doesn't. And I'm going to show you one more picture here of Double or Nothing. And, oh, wait, that's SummerSlam from last year. That's a WWF show. Look at all that. Wow, nobody attacks this company, but everyone wants to attack AEW. Look at all those empty fucking seats. Are you kidding me right now? Like, so everybody does it. The WWE does it. AEW does it. WCW did it. Even when it was popular, WCW did it. Everybody forgets that before the pandemic, by the way, in 2019, Fox executives went to a live SmackDown and they only put 6,000 fans in like a 12 or 13,000 seat venue, and they were concerned. This is before the pandemic. So everybody forgets that wrestling is cyclical and we're not in a fucking boom period. Like, so this is going to happen. And by the way, their buy rate is 130,000 to 135,000 so far for the prelim numbers for this year. That destroys last year's number, which I think was like 110, and that was with CM Punk on the top. So yes, they sold 4,000 less seats this year, but I think they went 15 to 20% up on their buy rate. And the theaters, the nearby theaters that they rent out, like so you could watch it on the big screen, were up from last year too. So there's success where there's failure all the time. That's what professional wrestling is. And just like any business, everything ebbs and flows. And I just urge everybody to, you don't want to wish this stuff away. Like, you just don't want to wish this stuff away anymore. Like, because if we lose another wrestling company,
where are all those guys going to go, Jess and gals?
Right,
where are they going to
exactly.
go? Where are they going to? The whole point of the big release in WWE is to see if AEW wants to even have them come cut their teeth there. And AEW has been selective, by the way. They don't just pick up; they pick up a lot of people. But there's people who are like, yeah, we're not interested in that person. So it's not like they're being unselected, but they can do a lot better with storyline. They can do a lot better with exposure. I think the CM Punk experiment has already failed. And the fact that he's coming back is going to hurt them and not help them. That's what I was trying to say last week when Cuz just kept talking over me a little bit. I don't think he can hear me, but I don't know. I was like, that's going to hurt them more than anything. But you have to have another home for this talent to thrive and grow. That's been the best thing that's happened in the last 3 to 4 years. And by the way, I think the storylines that we're starting to see and the exposure of WWE in those bad ways is developed into what we're seeing today. It's why we're seeing better stuff at WWE, because we're getting something else to face it against. Without that, you get a little bored, you get a little self-entitled, and you don't put the creative juice of work in that you normally would. We saw it after, all we had was great matches from 2002 to 2006 or 01 to 06, which was kind of like that ruthless aggression era. But then you saw the storylines just start to fail. All they wanted to do was just put on great work, but the storylines were crap and they didn't last long.
And there was nothing challenging them. They didn't have a rival promotion to challenge them and keep them in check. And is Tony Khan doing everything right? Probably not. I mean, none of us have ran our own wrestling company, so who are we to say? But I mean, honestly, no, they've made mistakes, right? They've not pushed people that they should push. They bring someone on like Miro, and for whatever odd reason, he doesn't get pushed. I have no idea. Andrade, same thing. I have no idea. However, they have done some things right, and they've done a lot of good things too, and bad things. So did the other company, though. God, if we all weren't hardcore wrestling fans on this Skype right now, we would have stopped watching the PG era. How bad was some of that garbage? It was awful. It was just really, really awful. So it was embarrassing to show non-wrestling fans a lot of that stuff going those are Muppets. They have Muppets on Raw. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. You have to fucking laugh it off, Wrestling's always been silly.
I don't think we were laughing off. We're like, we don't agree with this at all, but we're not going to stop watching.
But it's money. It's sponsorship money,
This is crap right now.
I think wrestling nowadays is way more mainstream than it ever has been, just because everything streams. And so it's just a part of culture now, which is amazing. That's just how hard Vince and company have worked over the last 35 plus years.
It's their work and it's technology.
Yeah. But we're not in a boom period. They're just recycling the same fans over and over again. I'm not suggesting that they're not doing good things to get to another boom period, but you got to get a top draw like an Austin or a Rock. And you can't just go find them growing on Vine, by the way, either. You have to strike a chord with the audience, and that character has to hit with the modern audience so much that it grows,
And that's really up to the wrestler at that point. But I mean, to your point, the technology has caught up immensely, and Vince has had a smart business mind. We can complain about the creativity with Vince before, and he's not doing it now, but their business mind of reaching as many people as they possibly can through these streaming processes and these digital processes, and as we call it, clicks, right, Craig, to find people to randomly to randomly just come across on your Instagram and come across a great wrestling moment and possibly get that person back.
Right.
They're doing tremendous things like that.
and on old shows that Vince McMahon might have been losing his touch creatively because he wasn't modern, but he never lost his touch when it came to business. Vince McMahon in the 90s was like, the internet's going to be a big thing. It's going to be like, he knew it. Like Vince was like, I'm going
to have my own channel. He said that. I think he said he's going to have his own channel in the 80s.
I mean, Bite This was a failure, but Bite This was like a podcast or a YouTube live stream 20 years ahead of its time. Right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Their partnership with whatever that 3 second, it wasn't Vine, it was a competitor to Vine, it also tanked, but they were always willing to play in new spaces. And now they're like, 90 million people watch the YouTube clips. They're making money off that. They're monetizing that. So
right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so speaking
Vince knew this a long time ago. Yeah.
So speaking of the quality of the show, Jess, you watched it and the Wrestling Observer ratings came out. So can we really quickly kind of go through match and then rating whether you agreed with it? I know you said
yes.
Over text, it was kind of a 3-match show, and it took a long time to get going.
Correct. I think overall, listen, I'm going to be honest, right? Like, it wasn't their best show. However, but we're so spoiled, though. There was nothing bad on it. It's not like everything that I saw was like, oh, what a botch fest. Everything was, it wasn't. It was just like, some of them were just like, or exactly what I thought would happen. So I didn't have they didn't bring me up that roller coaster and then drop me.
Yeah.
It just sort of like never got up. So nothing was terrible, but I would say overall, like lead in with my grade, I think the whole pay-per-view was a C, but I think the last 3 matches are absolutely worth watching for sure.
Very nice. So Hook and the Hardys versus Ethan Page and the Guns. Observer gave it 1 3/4 stars.
That was the opener, right? I missed the opener. I'm sorry, that was the All In or whatever, the free view or whatever. I think that was the pre-show.
It was the match before the Blackjack Battle Royal.
Yeah, I think the only one they gave Royal open.
Okay.
Yeah,
so Blackjack Battle Royal.
I missed that match, but what I read was kind of similar to what you said right there. It was just sort of there. It wasn't.
And apparently Hardy does a botch, and everyone was saying like, "Oh, poor!" Like, and apparently he meant to do it. Like, I don't know if you saw Jeff Hardy's kind of fall off.
I saw something on Instagram or like a GIF of him doing it, and I didn't really pay attention to it, but. Yeah. Now everyone's going to attack Hardy because, let's do it. Let's watch him fail.
Blackjack Battle Royal got 4 1/4 stars.
I didn't think it was that good. I thought it was.
Sorry, I put you on the spot.
God, why am I blanking out on it? Because didn't the winner take on Cassidy? Why am I blanking? I only watched this a week ago. That's how old I am.
I don't know.
I kind of, in my defense, I came in. I had the kids as well.
Yeah, I was
like
drunk.
getting them ready for. I was getting them ready for dinner and everything, and I started watching during the Blackjack Battle Royal. I had it on in the background. I wasn't fully invested until the Jericho and Adam Cole match. In all fairness,
which is next, and it gets 3 1/4 stars.
I gave it a C. I guess that's a little better than a C, the 3 1/4 star. It wasn't terrible. Again, it's like. I don't know who Adam Cole's supposed to be. I don't know what he's supposed to be. Everyone said like he was supposed to bring back the old black and gold NXT Adam Cole and the Ring of Honor Adam Cole, but I don't see that yet. And quite frankly, I love Jericho, but getting a rub from Jericho doesn't mean too much anymore. And I don't mean that to be a dick at all. He's been wrestling for 95 years.
Yeah.
So
I mean, like for the last 3 or 2.
Yeah, there's just going to come a part where it's not special to see Jericho anymore. And it's amazing what he's doing. It's amazing the shape he's keeping himself in for his age. It's amazing that he wants to get in there with younger guys who are way faster than him. And you know what I mean? And he has to kind of they have to sort of slow down for him. But Jericho's just as witty. His character's great. I just think it's just too much Jericho at this point. And I love Jericho. One day we will do a legacy of Jericho and it will be well deserved. But I gave it a C. It was okay. It wasn't terrible. And they stopped the match, by the way. It didn't end with a finish. They stopped it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it was kind of like, what?
Did Britt Baker come out and beat the shit out of them or something?
Yeah, that got a big pop. She came out and she beat up. Paige came out and tried to save Jericho or what's her name now? Sarah.
Yeah.
She came out.
Sriracha after the sauce.
Oh, a big bottle of hot sauce came out.
Terrible.
She's still spicy and she's still hot. You catch my drift.
FTR versus Jarrett and Lethal. They gave it 4 stars.
C+.
Ooh, okay.
I thought it moved very slow, and the spots were good. Nobody messed up. I just thought, look, you're in there with Jeff Jarrett, who's in his 50s, and you're in there with Jay Lethal, who's getting pretty close actually to that. And Jay Lethal's awesome. I love Jay Lethal. Aaron Jarrett came down there and she hit the referee Aubrey with a guitar, which is really funny. Like the whole place popped. And Briscoe was the special referee. He got knocked out, and then Aubrey comes to run down, and then Karen's like, "You bitch," and she hits her with a guitar. That was really funny. They had some really fun spots. I'm not suggesting like, but I wouldn't say it was like over 4 stars. Like the crowd was into it. FDR's awesome. The right people won. The crowd popped. There was nothing negative. I thought they could have cut the match by like a few minutes and it would have been tighter. That's just my opinion. So I give it a C+, but not bad. Again, not bad. Nothing that was wrong.
Christian versus Wardlow, 3 3/4 stars.
So I give this one a C as well. I think that Christian hasn't been full-time wrestling in a long time, and you could tell, and he was trying to walk Wardlow through this match. I don't like Wardlow anymore, unfortunately. They put Arn Anderson with him. If you're going to put someone with someone that should be a heel manager, like, yeah, I don't like Anderson with him. I don't think, and that's kind of why Cody got booed after a while too, because why put a face manager if the manager's not going to cheat or try to change the outcome of a fight? Like, why have them?
There's no point in having them there.
They had the rub on Wardlow, not to go off on a tangent. They had it, and Tony Khan let it go. So it's Tony Khan's fault that here we are 8 months later, or almost a year later, from when he beat MJF. And he had all the and people were popping crazy for him. Like he was almost getting like that high energy pop, like that, ooh, that guy's a star kind of pop. And he doesn't get that anymore. But they worked hard. He did a swanton bomb off the top of the ladder onto Christian, which made Hardy proud, I'm sure. But like, it's just when you're doing all that stuff and I'm just lackadaisically telling you that he did a swanton bomb off of a tall ladder onto Christian, like it just didn't make any sense. I felt like, I don't know if Wardlow should have squashed him or not. I'm just saying, like, God, you're having a competitive match with a part-time guy. And like, it's just weird. You got Christian on one side trying to push Wardlow, and you got Anderson in his corner on the other side, and people still don't care about Wardlow anymore. And that's the tragedy of it all. And I don't think it's Wardlow's fault, but I give C+, not bad. Again, not bad. Just for the match, when you read what type of match it was, it should have been like a B or an A.
Got it.
It just wasn't.
And since this isn't a review show, we'll fast forward to the last two because I don't care about stuff. So we'll talk about the last two matches. The four-way pillar got 4 3/4, and Anarchy in Arena, they actually gave it 5 stars.
I don't know about 5 stars for that one, but that was fantastic. So I'll go real quick. This is worth mentioning. The Jade and Valkyrie match was wonderful. And like, I don't know, and nobody saw that coming. And that was for the TBS Women's Championship. And Jade has been undefeated for I don't know how long now or whatever, but she beats Valkyrie, and then does it stay in there? Who came back? Somebody came back after a long injury because there's an open challenge. Jade's manager kept challenging anyone who wants to come in here, like Honky Tonk Man style.
Statlander or no?
Yeah, Statlander. Yes, Statlander came back, and she's been gone for a bit, and she finally defeated Jade. Which I dispute that. I love Statlander. However, even though I couldn't remember her name because I'm having issues. I've been sick all week. Give me a break. I don't like that because it makes Jade look like she was cheated. She's been a heel this whole time, right? And I want a face to come along and just dethrone her. That makes sense. And then there could be dissension in her camp, but she could blame her manager. Well, you kept fucking accepting everyone's challenge, and like that whole thing. But instead, she wrestled a great match against Valkyrie. And like that match, I give that match a solid B. It was awesome. It's the best match I've ever seen Jade had. And it was because of Tara carrying her to that level. I wish she would have won and beat Jade, but that's okay. The pop was huge for Statlander when she came out. It was just gigantic. But that started it for me. That was the third, I think, to last match. So I give that a solid B, and that's worth watching. And then the Four Pillars match was an A. Like that match was I thought that was the best match of the night. Everybody was wonderful. All the spots were great. MJF once again proves that less is more. But then you had Jungle Boy when he had to step up and shine, in the match. He was great. Even Sammy is so talented, man. I know people. Sammy. He has a face that people want to punch, but he is so gifted. It's crazy, man. Like all 4 of them did amazing. MJF gets the pin with the side headlock roll up that he did on purpose. Like, but it was an awesome spot to end the match. Go back and watch this if you get a chance. I'm not saying go pay $50 for the replay because I think that's criminal. Yeah. But if you get a chance to watch this match, it's an A. There's no question. It's so
What's
awesome.
his face does a coffin drop and someone puts the belt on. Let's say it was Jungle Boy.
I think it was Jungle Boy, yeah.
And then so he coffin dropped on the belt, which was kind of cool. I thought that was a really cool sequence.
It was a creative spot, and it was quick the way it happened too. Like
Yeah.
MJF was slick, and then he picks him up and he does a side headlock takeover into a pin and beats him, and it was perfect. I mean, the place went crazy. Like, yeah, it's MJF is on fire. All four just did a tremendous job. Like, it was well deserved.
Did you guys see somebody asked MJF if he was mad that he wasn't the last match? He's like, no. Think I wanted to be sitting in John Moxley's nasty blood all night? No, thank you. It was like he answered it perfectly. I was like, oh, well done, buddy.
That's hilarious.
He's just like he's so good. So he's
and I give the Arena Anarchy match an A-. I don't think it was as good as the Four Pillars, but so last year they played Wild Thing for what, like 10 minutes, like John Moxley's song Wild Thing, and they all started fighting and they played Wild Thing like for like almost 10 minutes or something like last year, which was the joke. Everybody laughed and loved it. So they had a live band come out and play John Moxley's live, Wild Thing while they came down. So they all start fighting and they're on like the third version of it. They're all Wild Thing and they're still doing it. And the crowd starts to pop every time like they restart the song over. So
really?
It's getting attention, and then finally the Young Bucks walk up to the aisle and they super kick the lead singer in the face, and it was so fucking
what
great.
A fucking cool spot!
It was so fucking great, and the place went crazy, and like there was really good spots like that. Like again,
what a great spot.
The Four Pillars match was more scratch my wrestling itch, but like this was a brawl and a half, and they did so many crazy shit on here, and like everybody was great in this match. Everyone was legitimately awesome.
Sweet.
Awesome. And then we all kind of live tweeted Night of Champions. So we all saw it. Dave, did you see it? Were you watching it live or no?
Yeah, no, I watched it live. Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
That was
I
fun.
enjoyed it. I was curious when I heard the 5-star for your last match. I was like, oh, I wonder what he graded the last match in Dubai, because that match was really good and the storyline at the end was freaking awesome with Jimmy giving a few super kicks in the head to Roman. It was great. Carries that storyline of the bloodline failing even further. But I wonder, I was trying to look it up and I couldn't find it. I wonder what Meltzer graded that one.
Well, Dave, they graded that Owens and Zayn's versus Reigns and Sikoa 4.5 stars. So,
see, it's just a little bit,
so razor thin.
Just AEW mark.
If the Usos would have super kicked the lead singer of the band in the face, it'd have been the
it's non WWE mark is what it is. They're just still mad. Like, they got to make a 6-star to make a 5-star on their rating system. It's got to be 6 to make it 5.
I like that match very, very much. The drama and the kind of the cinema. You think the bloodline would get old to me, but it's really not. And the way they're acting it, I like it. And the shot of Roman kind of sitting there at the end. There's just more to come. And Sammy, my God, is there any man more over wherever he goes at the moment?
Dude,
holy shit,
man! I'm a big Cody fan. I'm a big Cody fan, but just the way he learned the language and went over there and embraced it, because he didn't go in the past ones, right, to Saudi Arabia. This is his first trip, I believe.
Right, because Sammy is Syrian, and Syria just restarted diplomatic relations with Saudi Arabia.
That's why. Yep.
So he came out like in the garb and everything, and like, super respectful and speaking their language, and like that's a face, folks, and that's a face well done. He is so talented, and Kevin Owens is such a fucking workhorse. It makes me sick. Like, he's so good.
I kind of like grouchy Kevin Owens. He's very grouchy now.
Me too. And I love the fact that like most of the stuff is just internet bullshit, but every time Owens and Roman touch each other, someone says that Roman, like, KO will take a liberty on him. And I'm like, I would too. Like, I would fuck with him all day long, because if he's going to be prima donna Roman Reigns, like, I would be like, oh, I'm sorry, did I accidentally forearm your face? Oh, whoops. Yeah. Like, I would do it all the time. And I think they just do it because they're super competitive, because they've wrestled so many times.
There's that piece, and there's everybody trying to get Solo to break every single time. I saw one today of Kofi doing stupid dancing in the ring just to get Sikoa to break. He was on the outside. You just look at him and he had to do one of these, and I'm like, I know he's laughing so hard.
Well,
it's the best thing.
Do you want to go backwards, Craig? And by the way, can we talk about how good he is too?
Fuck, natural. And you know what? I think there's more coming. Not to be spoilers, but I think the one that you guys saw, the ones that we saw that matchup, is it Jacob Fatu? I think he's headed
like
over.
MLW. I think Cus said he was the MLW champion or something. He's the longest reigning. He just lost it. So they're gonna. So obviously the Usos will probably go out on their own, and that's how they're going to extend the storyline. And then Roman will rebuild the bloodline, which is fucking odd. Hey, put me down for 4.
God, there's fucking 20 of them. They're all great wrestlers. They're all
I guess we can grade this backwards, Craig, if we're grading everything. I gave the main event an A. I thought the main event was fantastic.
Yeah,
same. Lesnar and Rhodes get 4 stars, half a star less than the main.
I really want to give it an A-. I want to give it an A-, but I'll say a B+. I don't know why I'm giving it a B+. There's really no reason, because Lesnar is a goddamn pro, and he's frightening, and he's still frightening. And Cody Rhodes is just doing his best work ever. And, like, that whole storyline is wonderful. I'm only giving it a B+ because the main event had the storyline giggity goo in it. But, like, Cody just looking like the babyface in peril, and Lesnar making me still think he can come out on my TV and grab me, is awesome. And so I give it a B+ or an A-. I can go either way. What a great storyline, I think between those two.
I push into the A- because of no one. They sold the broken arm so well, and I didn't think they were going to allow him to use it as a weapon. I never thought about it, and they didn't talk about what the cast was made of until the match was just about to start. And I was like, oh, that's going to get used. That's going to even things out between him and Brock.
Michael Cole pulls that out of his.
I was like,
pulls out of his pants. He's like, and it's titanium, and we're like,
polyethylene,
and then he hits him
titanium still. I was like, here we go. And I thought it was a great match, and I love how he didn't quit. He just passed out. That's always, not everybody's allowed to do that, by the way. Someone should be going over super clean, but it's the Cody story that we're all.
But I knew it. I didn't know how it was going to happen, but I knew Lesnar was going to win it. But my rule of 3, Cody went over on the first one, whether it was luck or not, it didn't matter. And then now Lesnar just is torturing him. He's been attacking him for the last couple of weeks. He fucked his arm up. He just beat the shit out of him in the match or whatever. Cody got his shots in though, and then he just passed out because Lesnar just, your body's going to give out.
Talked about it on Raw too. He's like, so sounds like you're gone now, right? So I guess we don't have to worry about this anymore. But I will fight you again. I was like, hell yeah. And I know you're not coming out because you're not here.
I bet there'll be a third match at SummerSlam. I hope so.
Yeah. It's gonna push Cody to Mania.
I liked it a little bit less, but I know exactly what they're trying to do, and I think they pulled it off perfectly. I don't know what grievances I had with it. I gave it a solid B. I think maybe I don't like him using it as a weapon. And if you're gonna do the broken arm thing, there were a lot of times he looked fine, and a lot of times like he used it when he jumped out of the ring and braced himself, and he braced himself with that arm a couple times on just in the ring, which was a little ticky tacky. But whatever, who gives a shit?
That's hard.
His arm is really broken. I said it last week.
Greg,
I mean,
not everybody can sell like Macho Man used to sell his goddamn knee when Flair would try to kick it. Like Macho Man crawled for 55 minutes on the ground, like when Flair would hit. It was ridiculous how much Macho sold his knee.
Yeah,
or Hogan rake, man. It's like you're being whipped to death. Like Hogan back rake was the worst thing ever.
Asuka and Belair, they gave a 3 1/4 star.
Well, I'm legitimately enjoying this program. It was one of the things that when we were there live at Mania, we didn't think too much of it when it happened on night 2, and then I went back and watched it, and I thought it was a lot more close and snug. I didn't think it was an A at Mania, but I upgraded my grade to a B at their Mania match, and that's what I gave this match, a B. And then you had the shocker, you had Asuka winning the title, which is fine because Bianca can chase. She's already proved that she can hang out there with the top.
I said the exact same thing.
I love
She's going to chase again like she did last year, and people are going to love it. And I
love it.
Oh, good. Okay.
And good to see Asuka
was hard hitting and snug like the other match was. It was. I thought it was really good.
She's such a fan favorite to everybody. Like even though she's totally Hill, people love her. They don't necessarily have great chemistry to me, and I don't know why that is. There's two sometimes they just don't.
I see what you're saying. I do feel that way as well, but I think it's because they're choosing to be a little bit more snug with each other, and I think Asuka likes that style. Like I think Asuka likes to get in there with the kicks and the hits, and it's not big broad moves that make people go, they get in there.
Yeah, there not very many other women in WWE that's going to get that tight with her and really lay it in. Like to your point, like Bianca will.
And worst case scenario, Bianca's going to learn from this, and that's why I like her chasing. She'll probably win it back at SummerSlam. Yeah, which is fine.
Mustafa Ali versus Gunther on 3 3/4 stars, and I loved it because I actually thought Ali had a chance, and the fact that they made you think Ali had a chance.
I thought he was going to win in Dubai. I thought he was going to win.
I was fucking hooked. That's
why I like.
I told you guys before he was going to win, and then he was going to lose it on like. Raw
and then he kind of just got his ass kicked kind of quickly at the end. At the end, it happened fairly quickly.
I thought this was a semi squash match for a live premium event or whatever. But that's why I kind of like the B pay-per-views possibly being out of the country, out of the US, because they can actually take people that unfortunately aren't used to their fullest capacity on the main roster and be like, oh, well, we can polish you up for 3 weeks in the lead up to this, and we'll go to your home country and you'll get a big pop. And I mean, even if he does nothing else on the main roster, like he'll remember that forever. And actually, the last few times they've been out there, they dust him off and bring him out.
He is one of the most underutilized talents of a massive talent. He is so
do you think
fantastic.
Do you think Vega will ever forget Backlash in Puerto Rico? No. Like,
No.
and that's amazing for her, man. Like
that
that's
was like that was her main
wherever she goes, she'll always have that.
yeah, and I think that's wonderful. And I think that those moments can be made when these B shows go out of the country. Money in the Bank's going to be in London, right?
Yes.
So that's awesome, and they're going to, I guarantee you're going to start seeing some other faces that haven't been used very well that are from London that all of a sudden, like about 3 weeks before, will be in the Money in the Bank ladder matches or will be, and which is wonderful.
Which kind of makes sense. When people know they're going into their hometown, they look forward to it.
Yeah.
They start wrestling better. Like, if you're in a sport, you play better.
One of them's going to Australia. I don't know which one.
Yeah, I can't remember. Shit. Yeah, it's later in the year. Yeah, it's after SummerSlam, I believe.
What else you got, Craig?
And then Trish Stratus versus Becky Lynch, 3.25 stars. I hated. I know it got better as it got longer, but I checked out. I
gave it a C. Good. I was disappointed in it. However, you got to give Trish credit for not wrestling. She hasn't barely wrestled in any kind of competitive match. I mean, I know she was at Mania, but it was a tag match and all that stuff. Like, it's just.
I am not invested at all. I'm not.
It's like they're trying to give Becky the legend rub now, and try to convince you that she is that legend now, that she's in a tier above Bianca and Asuka and all that. Which again, you got to do it to a certain extent, and so I'm not opposed to them trying it. I just don't think Becky is the man this time around. She doesn't have the same bite that she does, and I don't know why. And I mean,
I miss Angry Becky.
Dude, she's beaten up too, man. And she retired for 9 years at one point before she even went to work for NXT. So like Becky's been beat to shit for years, and she's given her body and her life to the sport.
Yeah.
So like I respect her, and the man gimmick and that 1.5, 2 year run was probably the most successful women's run so far. Charlotte's a star and all that stuff.
Fantastic.
And Bailey gets cheered, Sasha gets cheered. I get that. But the character of the man was on a different level, like for a while. You heard that guttural pop, like that big fuck, she's over. Like,
totally agree.
She's over to everybody, not just women,
And we'll see.
And so I think that's why we're harsh on her. So I give it a C, maybe even C-, because I just felt like it was like they were winding up for the pitch and they never pitched the ball. Like, and it was like, okay, but Trish has what's her face on her side now. It looks like Trish is going to have a little stable of her own, which is kind of cool. Trish can stay around in my living room if you catch my drift. Like, I love her. So,
and it'll be interesting to see whether that lasts, because she broke her nose and she had blood all over her, over Becky Lynch did. We're talking about. So it'll be interesting to see whether that last shot harkens anything back and
it's right in front of her face. If they don't call back for it and make her like,
she wore the same outfit on Raw that had blood all over it. It was purposeful when they came in for the run in.
So we'll see if that kind of works again.
They try to work with it. We'll see.
And then the kickoff was Rollins and AJ Styles for the brand new World Heavyweight Championship. WON gave it 4.25 stars, which I guess I'm okay with that. Maybe 4.5. I would give. It was a solid B+.
By the way, you missed the squash title match.
Which one?
Ripley.
Oh,
that's not even on here. Holy shit!
Ripley destroying Natalia, which shouldn't have even been a thing.
I was actually very happy.
Didn't even rate
it.
That's hilarious.
Match.
Sorry, I missed it.
No, it's okay. I just hope I was wondering what they would have graded it, because it doesn't have much to grade, but I was so happy that it was a squash. I was like, that's what it needs to be. That's what
I understand what you're saying. I want them to be careful. I'm not suggesting that Rhea needs to have competitive matches, because she's more of a badass. She should squash some people. But this is the second premium live event in a row that she's pretty much squashed whoever. She didn't squash Vega, but she did squash Vega, if you really think about it. Like, so Vega got some moves in or whatever, but she dominantly pinned him. Like, it wasn't even a question. It was like a Raw match in that vein with that booking. I kind of want to see another.
I think we kind of need that for a minute until it does get competitive when we find the right person or people to wrestle against her. But for now, I think this is what it needs to be. Next person up, squash him. A couple of people here, and then get to the big pay-per-views and have something real, and then have some chase. But
yeah, you're probably right. You're probably right, because like there's a lot of TV, and like you can't have her face top stars all the time. You're going to run out of matchups. So you're right. That's right.
Yeah, especially if we wanted to have a long title run, like try to even touch Roman's run or something like that. I don't think she will. But if you want like a 2-year run or something out of it, if you want to try to reach,
you got to feed her the Natalias and stuff like that, just to keep her going, keep her train moving.
But find some good ones around the big four. Find some good storylines around the big four. And
it was Natalia's birthday, and then she's like, "Happy birthday, Nazi!" I was like, that was so damn.
She's on point right now. Everything she says and does is
disrespectful.
totally, Yeah, she's on.
She's wonderful. Yeah, she's wonderful.
Really
She's one of my
fantastic.
favorite characters right now in the company.
Yeah.
So
she's doing
did
great.
you guys like the old school AJ and kind of Seth? Kind of no interference and kind of no bullshit and a little hard hitting. I liked it.
Oh, I love the match. I was a little disappointed that it was on first, but I realized that Seth had to get out for the movie, and then Bex had to be right after, so she probably joined the plane with him. Like, he had to go. They have to go film. Oh gosh, what is he doing?
Eternals 2.
It's a
I'm
Marvel,
just kidding. It's a Marvel thing though.
It's the new Captain America.
Oh,
He's gonna be in. Yeah. So
yeah, I gave that I gave it a B. A B is a great match, and I'm like, oh, I could take it or leave it. That was fine. Like, I had a problem with bringing AJ up. Like, he was gone for a while, and then they just throw AJ in there. And I love AJ. I hate saying it because it sounds like I don't respect him, but I love AJ. But he just he's had no steam for like over a year since he broke up with Omos. Like, there's been no. Yeah, it's like him and the Brotherhood or whatever they are. They're boring, and like I'm like, oh,
we joke so hard about almost carried him. Like that
he did. That's where the legend started to grow. Is my point. But he grew tall, but his talent didn't grow. It's weird. But yeah, AJ, like, I like AJ a lot, but he is getting older, and he is getting, he probably gets injured more than we know. And like,
yeah,
I love the match. It was not a bad match at all. And like, especially if you're going to put it in the opener, what better opener do you expect? But it's for like this title that they're trying to make you believe that it's just as good as Roman's, and it's not. And like, it's just, I don't know. But I think the right person won. I said going into it, I think Seth should fucking win. Why should AJ? It makes no sense. But
right.
Seth won, and I love Seth, and I think Seth's been doing. I think he should beat fucking Roman. I don't know where to go after that, because you're probably going to want a really good pure babyface to carry the ball after they beat Roman. But Seth is not a pure babyface. Seth could be whatever you want him to be. Like, so
they haven't touched for so long. It would take some time.
The way people are full on behind Seth now, like way more than they were his first title run. Yeah. Like, now he knows who he is. He loves his character. He's completely like, he flows like water when he goes down there. Yeah, like, he's such a good performer. Fans, him beating Roman, holy shit, that place would go crazy. And the history's right there. Like, it's already there.
It's all there. They can tell it quickly, but they would need time to put the story back together. But just him, the ability of Seth to walk into a ring and sit there and not do anything and let the crowd chant for 2 to 3 minutes pretty much every time he comes out now. He knows, like, he is dialed into the extreme. There is nothing. The fans are totally connected, and like, to your point, it's right now it's Seth, Sammy, and Roman, and Cody's knocking. Like, and that's a little scary for Cody, is what I would say. Because Cody was in that top 3 of story of,
it's another layer connection. Now. Yeah.
There's another layer of it's Sammy and Seth and Roman, and Cody's just on the outside looking at that. I think that's where, Jess, you were saying, like, you were getting a little concerned. It's concerning to be just on the outside of that.
But again, they've done such a good job with the storyline. My concern is probably all for naught. I'm sure Triple H has complete control. Like, he knows what he's doing, and I'm sure Paul Heyman has a hand in it. Like, there's so many.
I just don't want. I don't want Cody. I don't want Cody to lose steam. That's my only concern.
I think he'll be fine. I do worry about that just because of today's wrestling fan, because I don't trust them. That's why I got in my soapbox early in the episode, because I really think a lot of wrestling fans are dickholes, and like, they don't understand like that. First of all, the WWE is going to follow the money. They don't give a shit what you tweet about or what you say. You could say you hate something, but if someone's selling merchandise, they will continue to get pushed. Right. That's the thing. Tony Khan is going to follow the dollars. He doesn't give a fuck about what a dirt sheet says about him or about what anybody says about him.
Sure. Like, you don't like Orange Cassidy opening every single Dynamite for the last 2 months? You know why he does it? Is because they get a ratings pop. And so Tony Khan will continue to push Cassidy the opening match of Dynamite until it stops working.
Yeah.
So get used to it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, you don't like it when Goldberg squashes people for 2 years? Well, the fans do. Watch the ratings.
Yeah. We go back and watch how many old pay-per-views do we watch, whether it's from the 90s or even the early 2000s, and we're like, man, like, some of these matches didn't hit like I thought. But when you're in your fandom, in your teens and 20s, it was all good. But we'll go back and watch SummerSlam 91 and be like, that was a fucking, like, not even that was a one-match show. That was perfect and Brett, and that was it. And that's not even what we came to see. We came to see Hogan and the Warrior in the main event,
We talked about it so many times with Austin.
I gave Double or Nothing a C because it only had 3 good matches. The first fucking 8 or 9 WrestleManias were 1-match shows. Like, you know what I mean? Like, shows. It's fuck. Like,
yeah, it totally was. Yeah, it's always been that way. We even talked about The Rock and Austin on top. It was great, but everything underneath it was like, sometimes you're like, oh my God, I can't believe I actually watch this.
So
Like,
it's
I
just
didn't
like what we're
fast-forward
going
this,
through
like,
now.
wow.
It's just that unfortunately this cancer called social media, everyone has, you could hear everyone's voice at once. And sometimes I like hearing my voice is enough, man. That's enough to make me irritated.
We're spoiled, man. We're spoiled
Yeah.
legit with talented roster matches
Dude,
all the time, even on regular television.
God. We don't have to deal with the bloated Dino Bravo getting in there and fighting a past his prime Caravan Eric. We don't have to fucking deal with that anymore. We don't. Like, we don't have to get in there and watch a 50-year-old Greg Valentine take on Earthquake in a slow ass match. We don't have to watch that shit anymore.
Did we do a bio on Dino yet? How have we not done that? That's
I think we're good.
Done that.
I'll do it right now. Caught up in this illegal cigarette trade in Canada, got shot in the head. Thank you. Roll credits.
Oh my God.
Craig
had feud with Don Morocco and goodbye. Thank you.
Why do you gotta ruin everything?
Who did not? Team, he didn't have feud with Don Morocco. Who was Dino Bravo's biggest feud?
Probably the Warrior.
Warrior. God, they feuded with the Warrior.
Right?
And then he was also in Earthquake's corner when Earthquake was feuding with Hogan. So I think he's just Roddy Piper said this. Okay, I probably shouldn't say this, but he said it at SummerSlam '90. He's like, you want to know why Dino Bravo hangs out with the Earthquake? And he goes, you know how those so-so girls hang out with the big fat girls? That's why Dino Bravo hangs out with the Earthquake. And I was like, Roddy Piper said that like out loud. And I was like, oh my God, I will never forget it. Awesome. So every time you bring up Dino Bravo, I think of Piper saying that on commentary. Not saying it's appropriate in 2023. I'm just saying.
That's so funny.
Jeez.
Yeah. But
I'm just
it was a good weekend.
And
on a rest in peace, both of you. This weekend it's on a lesser level. NWA is doing a 2-day Crockett Cup on Saturday and Sunday. I might get it. It depends. I'm not sure. I like the product. It's cool. It's been a little weird lately the last year.
How do you watch them on Fight? How would you
on Fight? Yeah, on Fight.
It's spoken like a fucking old man. What's wrong with me? And how would you pay for this?
You actually said it.
How much does he weigh?
Or not.
I'm sorry.
I don't know if you said it last week or not, but it is confusing. It is like we were talking about how everyone's merging and all these different streaming systems are going rogue and doing all that. It'll take another few years to get just a couple.
Can't you catch it on YouTube within a few days anyway, Jess? After
I don't know if they put the whole pay-per-views on YouTube or not. They do their weekly show Power, NWA Power. They put that back on YouTube now because they tried putting that behind the fight wall. Didn't do well, so they went back to YouTube.
Can you buy their pay-per-view on YouTube to have it streaming or no?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not Billy Corgan, Craig. He owns that. If anybody doesn't know, he's the lead singer of Smashing Pumpkins. And he owns it.
I got his number. We can ask him.
Every fucking video package, by the way, it's like, despite all my rage, I'm still. That's literally
we cleared it. It's the only song we could clear.
It's the only song we can get cleared.
Yeah. Only one the rest of the Pumpkins would like.
What did he say? He said, if you don't like Tyrus, you don't like wrestling. What he said something strange like that.
Something close to that. Like if you don't like Tyrus, then don't watch. And if you don't like Tyrus, then you don't know what you're watching or something like that. Because they're just trying to build. They're doing the same thing with Tyrus that they're doing with Roman, except Tyrus is Tyrus is super physically like dilapidated. And so like, yeah, he could barely walk. He could barely do that. I don't mind what they're doing. He unfortunately gets a lot of critique for his political views. However, I don't care as long as his character in the ring isn't about being political, which it's not at all. Right. At all, by the way. I like Tyrus's promos. His in-ring work is horrible. But it doesn't matter. Like he's this undefeated character that just stands there with the fucking belt and taunts you all of the time. And he always taunts people, and he always refers to all the haters. It's like 75 people on Facebook. Like he says it all the time. Like when he's being interviewed, he's like, the internet critiques. He goes, you mean the 75 people on Facebook? Those people? Like he says it all the time. It's really funny. So like he's a heel.
So is that angle called the blub line?
Oh my God.
What?
What? Huh?
The club line.
I'm gonna get killed. Tyrus, you know what? Anyone can find, like, I'll be doxxing.
What I feel they're doing is they're trying to do like a Roman build where you're just going to build this undefeated champion who keeps winning and he gets so fucking so mad. And finally they're going to find a baby face that will do it and beat him. And then the whole place will go, all 200 people in the crowd will go crazy and it'll be great. So that's fine. That's fine.
Where's Nick Aldis going to go or where did he go?
He is in Impact. He's back in Impact.
Oh, okay.
And Impact actually, by the way, I need to start watching more of their shit. They're on fire right now. Their last like 3 pay-per-views have been like amazing, and I've caught the majority of it on YouTube and stuff. And like other, there's an Impact channel on Roku free TV, and so like I see a lot of the current stuff. Yeah. I do try to watch Impact when I can. It's just hard to fucking fit 1,800 hours of wrestling into it.
That dude's face was hanging off last week.
Yeah, PCO got his face stings.
Oh my God!
No,
the guy who PCO fought, like he got hit hard way. A cooking pan did it.
Shit.
So a cooking sheet did it and caved, and his scalp was hanging down. So all those blood shots of him in the middle of the ring was all hard way.
Oh wow.
From a cookie sheet.
That's crazy. Was he the champion? I don't remember. I'm trying to remember
Yeah.
who it was. Now I remember seeing him standing in the ring, and he was
Yeah.
legitly covered. Like
Yes.
the whole top half of his body was all red. There was no skin color at all. Like you could, yeah.
And so and then PCO he stapled and he stapled his mouth shut. Oh God.
It's not funny, but it is.
No place today in today's wrestling. Whatever happened to a chin lock?
And then Trinity Fatu is now part of Impact, and I think she's fighting for the title. It might be they might have a pay-per-view tonight or next Friday. They always do their shit on Fridays, so it might be tonight. I don't know anymore. We do this unscripted show about wrestling, and we're all like, I don't know anymore. Who's this?
Yeah,
Rude still this?
That's why it's unscripted. Figure it out. We gotta figure it out. You go.
Is Dino Bravo on the card next week or no?
That's what I heard. That's what I heard.
But yeah, so exciting week last week and a lot to talk about. And now begins the march to Wembley for AEW. They've already sold 60,000 seats, so it's going to look fantastic. I'm sure someone will take a picture of one of the patches and be like, wow, Wembley Stadium was half full. Like, I'm sure it'll be that bullshit.
Look at the hard cam, mate. There's no one there.
And it holds 80,000 people. Like, give it a rest. It'll be fine.
There's no one.
Jesus. Like, it's going to be fine.
It's hard cam.
Like, everybody needs to settle down. You put
just remember the picture I put up of SummerSlam where half the fucking arena was empty. Okay, I mean I know they still put 35.
To be fair, that was a big freaking stadium.
It was Dave. Stop sticking up for.
But yeah, it's people need to like chill out.
I've been to Raw and SmackDown tapings where the entire second side of the fucking building was empty.
Didn't even sell out, right?
Whoa.
According to Triple H, there was 500,000 people there on both nights. I don't know if you know.
I read that somewhere,
and then Dave Meltzer just disputes it to death. It's not even. It can't even. It's not even that big. There's not even that many people live there. But yeah, wrestling promotions have been, except for WCW. I've said it before. WCW is probably the only promotion that underliked. It's the famous line where they had the Georgia Dome with Hogan and Goldberg, and there was over 40,000 people there. And Shivani's like, "There's 2,000 people on their feet," and they're like, "Why wouldn't you just fucking celebrate?" Like he said, like there's 38,000, and like even Dave Meltzer, who is a stickler to the figures, he's like, "No, they legitly got over 40 in that fucking building. Why wouldn't Tony Schiavone be like over 40?" Because that sounds like a big hitting point,
They didn't know what the hell they were doing.
Yeah, Schiavone's like, "There's 12,000 on their feet," and they're like, "Schiavone, there's 12,000 people just around the entrance. Like that's how many people they have in this fucking building right now." But yeah, that might be the only promotion I know that doesn't exaggerate. Like if they talk about attendance, they don't. So
he's got the attendance numbers from a week before they sold any more tickets. That's the number he's working with. We know we got that many. Right.
I don't know.
Gotta be stickler on those.
But hey, good wrestling weekend for sure. But again, don't let my C fool you. Like, if you like wrestling, there was no mess ups. It was fucking wrestling. It was two major promotions putting on their best. And how in the world can you lose? NXT, like I said, the NXT show was really good. NXT show was fucking awesome.
And you're just grading on a scale that every match is a good match,
Oh, I forgot about the exploding super kick. And so real quick, I forgot about this. Yeah, the exploding super kick. One of the I was going to say Hardy Boys. One of the Young Bucks put something exploding, and they super kicked Moxley in the face, and it exploded like fireworks exploded, and that was a cool shot. And then Daniel Bryan pinned him down, took the device off his shoe, and then Moxley put thumbtacks down. And when someone gives you an atomic drop, they lift you up, and then they drop you on their knee. They dropped his bare feet on the fucking thumbtacks, so you got the visual of the thumb. It was awesome. It was fucking awesome. Like it was great.
Have you ever just gotten like one sharp thing in your foot?
That was the most out of Randy Orton rolling around with it in his elbow and a Foley with it in his eyebrow or whatever. The foot thing was my most uncomfortable thing because if you've ever stubbed your toe or stepped on a fucking sticker or stepped on a Lego,
and he got a whole bunch of thumbtacks in both of his bare feet.
And no, they just took it off the foot that had the device on it, so they took it off. They took it off him, and they had atomic dropped him on it, so his feet landed in the fucking thumbtacks, and it was all on the bottom of his foot. It was glorious. And then they also. Dave and I saw this at PWG. Moxley held his mouth open and dumped thumbtacks in, and they kicked his face and the thumbtacks went flying everywhere.
How did they gimmick that? I mean, I guess you don't kick the face.
Oh,
obviously, the Young Bucks have this. All the good super kickers can turn their foot, so it's the side of the shoe. But
he holds what he needs to hold in his mouth and then spits them up when he gets kicked, so that way they go flying everywhere. It was awesome. Yeah, I forgot about those two spots.
I love wrestling.
It's fantastic.
It's the best.
Makes me want to watch that stuff now.
So everybody shut up and just enjoy it. Because if one company goes out of business, you're going to be fucked. Like, we're all going to be fucked. We're all going to be back in the PG era. All of us.
Listen, make Uncle Jess happy. Follow us on our social medias and watch us.
Make sure you follow. Just like, you guys suck, but follow us on
We
Instagram.
love you. We love you for watching. We love you
It's
as
tough
fans.
love.
You
It's
just
just
don't know
tough
you're
love.
babies. You're babies that are angry. Okay?
Yeah, you're just 20-year-old angry babies.
Wait
till you get old.
Angry babies.
When you get older, you have nothing. Okay? Just take it out on something else. Enjoy
wait till
wrestling.
you get older.
Treasure
and like
it. Keep it like a little baby diamond because we need it to be beautiful. Okay? Don't shit on wrestling.
All right, buddy.
All right.
All right, everybody. This has been Unscripted.
Ricky, wrap it up.
And stop.
I don't know what to do.
And stop.